Alright, so the point of this video is just to give you a hands-on example with some actual numbers of what this model is really talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of work through the logic of this example in a second, but the questions that you should be able to answer are: one, will the USA export or import corn? So I'm just going to write export or import. And then two, you should be able to say what the equilibrium in both the USA and the rest of the world is before and after trade is opened. So equilibrium, I'm just going to write EQ, and then I'm just going to write before and after. And then I'm kind of running out of room over there. So the third thing then is the quantity of the export or import. So after you've figured out one, then you should also be able to figure out by how much. So how much is the US going to export, or how much is the USA going to import? So we're talking about the market for corn here, and on the left we have the diagram for the rest of the world, and on the right we have the diagram for the USA. So at this point I want you to pause the video, try and work through this entire example on your own, and then I will pick up and kind of show you the logic of how I would work it through. Alright, so at this point I'm going to start going ahead and working through the model on my own. So the first thing is that I can immediately tell that the USA will be exporting corn because so I'll write these answers down here and then we'll kind of scroll back and forth. So one, it will export because the price for the world is greater than the price for the US with no trade. So just going back up to our graphs here, the price of the US with no trade is represented by point A. So this is the no trade price. And that's $1.80 per head of corn, let's say. So if there's no trade at all, corn will trade for $1.80 per bushel, or not per bushel, per head. And 120, let's say, million heads of corn will be produced and sold. However, if the market is then opened up to trade, then the world price will prevail, even in the United States, because we're saying that the USA is a small nation. So corn will now be $2. And if corn is $2, there will be a surplus of C minus B. So this will be the surplus, which means that that the US is going to export this much. So we've already done the equilibrium before and after. Before, it's just represented by point A, and then after, it's represented by this situation where we have a world price that is prevailing, and there is a surplus of corn produced because 160 million heads of corn are produced, and only 80 million heads of corn are consumed in the US. So the difference between those two, and I'll just grab a different color here because that yellow is kind of hard to see. So the difference between those two will just be 160 from right here. So 160 minus 80, and that's just equal to 80. So the US will export 80 million heads of corn. And that's really all that you need to be able to do with this model. You should also be able to know, if I drew I'm just going to do this really quickly and not thoroughly, but if we had a new demand line here and a new supply line here that gave us this price right here in the world, then you should be able to go ahead and figure out what these points are and how much the US would import corn. So you just need to be able to work with an import situation as well. And that should really do it. So that's all that I'm going to cover in this video. If that wasn't clear, please let me know, and I will see you in the next one.